Hey everybody, and welcome to This Woman Can. I am your host, Janice Sutherland, where it is my passion to help women exceed in their leadership roles and have impactful careers, creating more wins in their life. Now, this section of, or these next few weeks, we're going to be talking all about sustainable development, the environment, and women who work in those areas, women you don't normally hear about, but until something kicks off probably, but you don't hear about the struggles, the challenges they face, and also maybe an opportunity for you to consider careers in these fields. Now, my guest this week is Ambassador Refica Attwood, and she's the founder and first board president and the executive director for Wallings Nature Reserve Inc, the first community managed national park in the Twin Islands state of Antigua and Barbuda. Now, for our listeners, the Wallings Reservoir was built in 1890 and used to supply 30 water tanks in 15 villages across the island. So quite extensive. And it actually covers 1,680 acres, which is all managed by the reserve, whose focus is driving sustainable tourism development. In 2020, Refica was made an Island Innovation Ambassador by Island Innovation, whose focus is driving sustainable change across islands and rural areas across the world. Not only that, Refica is also the national coordinator and civil society liaison on a climate readiness project in 7 Caribbean islands, and listen to this, and is currently pursuing associate's degree in tourism management. Now, I just get tired reading all that, Refica. But first of all, I want to say welcome. Thank you for joining us today. And my first normal question to my guests is, tell us about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Hi, thank you for having me. So I'm one of those run-of-the-mill persons that you'd see at the side of the road and just glimpse at and don't take a second look at. I have an untraditional job. So when I'm not the executive director, I'm a logger. I use the forest and the trees that you find therein to make a living for hotels, farmers, and fishermen. I have to ride a donkey to do that.
Yeah.
So the inception of Wallings Nature Reserve came a morning. I was going into the bushes with my dad. Something had happened. Somebody made a report. And usually over the years, my family has been taking care of the area unofficially.
Right.
So we attempted to pass that morning and a tree fell across the road, and I was a tour guide, and I'm not ashamed to say it. This was Wednesday and I took a tour the Monday, taking some guests to Signal Hill, walking the same pathway. And my dad said to me, "Didn't you have a tour this week?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "In here's dirty. And there's a tree across the road. How did you pass?" I'm like, "I just walked around the tree." And he's like, "You're just like everybody else.
Oh.
Air is untidy, it's looking neglected." And I was like, "Oh, why should I do something?" He's like, "Oh, if you're going to be like the normal persons, because people usually talk, always have solutions, but they're not going to do anything. If you're going to be like them, just hush." I felt bad. So I go home and I take on that because somebody embarrassed me. So I got up 2 o'clock in the morning and he said to me, "If you want to see change, be the change you want to see."
Wow. Yeah.
I had an email sitting in my inbox 6 months prior from someone wanting to give funding to start up the organization. And I read the email and I put it back as unread because I wasn't going to take on that challenge then and there. I was only 26. I had my children to contend with. I didn't need any extra stress. And then I said to myself, what if this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life?
Yes. There's that signal, that sign that says, could this be it? So you said you were a logger. So for those, and I guess, ladies and gentlemen, you heard she's a logger. So it means you go into the forest, you tell me more.
I use a cutlass and I cut trees. So
Right. Okay.
I had the opportunity to be featured, I think in 2022, in Sierra Magazine about my work as a logger, my work in the rainforest. I was featured in a German documentary, Grenzo's Antigua, where they actually followed me into the bushes riding a donkey, doing
Right.
the logging so persons can understand exactly what the work that I do, the important part it plays in supplying others with livelihood. So
Yeah.
the fish pots that the fishermen take out to sea, we use the stick that we gather for them to brace to make the wire
Right.
stronger.
Right.
So you have trees that we go into the bushes and selectively cut
Yeah.
so that that they can use them for their business.
Yeah, fabulous, fabulous. And touching on Wallings, just a little bit, how important? I mean, we said it. We with climate change and all that's happening in the environment right now. How have you seen the area change over the years? Because obviously you said you do a little bit of touring and stuff like that. But for me, I've watched your progress and what's been happening. I'm like, yes, so what has been the biggest change for you, or maybe no, let me rephrase that. I can see what you're doing. I can see your vision. But what's the biggest frustration for you in making that vision a reality?
Compliance and persons understanding why somebody from Antigua and Barbuda needs to have something that belongs to Antiguans. Investors can come from right in here inside your own country. An investor don't have to have lots of money. An investor just needs to have the vision, the drive, the motivation, and the will to see change to get things done.
Right.
So my biggest deterrent is my fellow countrymen coming in and undermining the work that we've already done.
Yeah. I hear that. And how and with the program, I talk a lot about the challenges women face. So you see a lot of you get a lot of resistance, or I sense a lot of resistance or pushback to what you're doing. And when you are faced with those situations, how do you navigate that on a personal
Well,
level?
Well, first things first, most times I'm at Wallings, I'm sitting down. I am not dressed up because I work in the forest, probably behind my computer screen. Persons will drive up and they would see a female and a male, and they'd pass over the female and go to the male and say, I want to speak to who is in charge. And the male would say, she's in charge. And they're like, oh, she's so young. Why is she young? Why is the young
Yes.
person taking on this challenge? And then she seems to be way younger than everybody here. Sometimes I'm the youngest person on site, and they with the behavior and the mindset. And they, when I begin to speak, they're like, oh, okay, you're smarter than you look, or I thought you would have been an older person. And
Yeah.
why you, somebody in your 30s, taking on this challenge now? Why didn't you wait until you were 40? I don't know if I'm going to live until I see 40. I don't. So I laugh because persons like to judge just by appearance. So I'm a female, so I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
And then when my team members will say most of the all of the ideas are hers, she just basically gives persons an opportunity to tweak it.
Mm.
Then you see a difference.
Right. Fabulous. So Rafika, again, lots of challenges in what you've been doing, but how has failure made a positive difference in your life?
Because we're the first community managed national park, what we're doing, we're documenting all the mistakes that we've made. So if another community decides, hey, I want to do something at what is happening at Wallings, they're going to have a playbook because we
Right.
didn't have a playbook.
Yeah.
So you have to test things out there, and failure is what propels us to go forward. So
Mm-hmm.
you try this. Let me try this paint. Does this paint work? No. Let me try this rope. Does this rope work? No. Let me do this. Let me try this. So
Right.
failure has been a motivation. So persons are afraid to fail, not at Walling.
Yeah.
We want to try something. We're going to see if it works because we're outdoors. The environment is completely different. We've been testing. We've been going back and forth. There are things that we thought we would have in place. And basically, we're going on our third year. When Wallings Nature Reserve began, there wasn't an administration building.
Right.
We started on the 10th, and the person said, oh, why don't you wait until you get an administration building to start? Why don't you wait until you get a vehicle? They had a whole list of things as why the project should not have started when it started, because there was no building, there was no restroom, there was no vehicle, there was
Mm.
nothing. The
Mm.
space, the slate was clean enough for us to start to put things in place.
Yeah. Now you talked to me from a business level, did I say, or organizational, from a Wallings level. But for you personally, how has failure made a positive difference?
I have this mindset, in order for you to get better at things, you have to fail and you have to make mistakes. So I'm a full-time student. My classmates would say to me, oh, how do you always excel so well, doing better than us in class, and you have so much going on? The pass mark is 65. So I said to them, as long as I pass the subject, I pass.
Yes.
And one lecturer said to her,
Yes.
them, she keeps saying 65 is the pass mark to give herself take the strain off of herself mentally,
Yeah.
because she never gets 65. She always
Yeah.
excels well in the subject.
Yeah.
But because she's already rested her mind and fooled herself into thinking I just need 65, she would end up with a 90.
Yeah.
Because it's not something where I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
In order for you to get work done, you have to put it. You have to do and put results in place, put
Yeah.
actions, and put pen to paper to get results.
Yeah. And that's really true because, people always, for me, that's like almost like a piece, another line going down perfection, because people want things to be 100%. They want things to be perfect. When it's not perfection we're looking for, perfections can be quite subjective. Like you said, the pass mark for you is 65. What is my objective? My objective is to pass. My objective is not to get 100%. Because, nobody says to you, the person next to you, or says to you, they ask, did you pass or fail? And you say pass. They could have had a higher mark, but you both passed. So yeah, I love that I love that mindset. So Refica, if you had to start over again, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
I would. There's nothing I would change because the
Okay.
results would still be the same because I'm a female, and when in dialogue with government and other organizations, they keep saying we don't have manpower, we don't have resources. I was given the same exact slate, but the thing is, whereas the government and other organizations had access to funding, we had to be out there begging. I need this, I want to try this. And persons would say, let me take a chance to see
Yeah.
if you can do
Yeah.
what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
So for the past 3 years that we've begun at Wallings, persons have said, oh, she really has vision, because what somebody said to me that you have that they don't have, you have vision. And I've dedicated my time to seeing this through, and I believe in the project. So it is a case where if I fail, I'm going to say I did this and it wasn't successful. I'm not going to hide it, because it is the case where there was no playbook. There's nothing to say this is the right way, this is the wrong way. And then you have things in place that persons now want to mimic and take from here and put other places. Just like when we were doing persons accustomed to hiking Antigua and Barbuda, and they were using clothing to tie on trees, they were using spray paint.
Right.
And I said last night, even in class, that I put myself in the position of others and say, what if something happens? And I said, we have, at the time when we began, we had 3 existing trails, and I said, hey, why not? I have insomnia, so I don't sleep well at night. So what I do, I have a notebook beside my bed, and my children think I'm crazy for that. And if I get up out of my sleep and I had a dream, I get up and I write it down, because by the morning comes, it's gone.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was asleep at night and I saw colors. And I got up the morning and I wrote it down. And when I was in the bathroom, I was like, colors? I have 4 trails. Why not use a specific color for each trail, so everything is color coded now?
Right.
And then how do I know that you need assistance somewhere if I don't use numbers? And then I said, what if you can't read but you can tell color? Or what if you can't read or you can't tell color but you can count?
Yeah.
So you have words, you have color, you have numbers.
Right.
And this is how the inception of the trail flags became into play.
Right.
Then when I was explaining the ideas, I'm creative in my head, but I can't put it on paper or put it in the computer. And then when I sent it to the graphic designer, he was like, why do you need it on 2 sides? I said, so any direction you come from, you can see it. So even if you fall down or if something happens and you were walking towards to the east, or you were walking towards the west, you should be able to see this flag from any direction. And then we're going to put it above, because if something happens, you're going to look up.
Right.
So
Right.
all of this, and I was lying down, I was explaining, he's like, girl, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And now we have a unique flag system in place at Wallings, where we have all the trails with different colors. So if you tell me you have an accident on green, I'm going to look for you in one place.
Right.
I'm going to be searching all over the reserve on all the trails looking for you, because I know there's only one trail with green flags.
Yeah.
And then I have black flags. So black means the trail interconnects. So it means it's not a main trail, it's a secondary trail.
Right.
So you have presently 3 black flags. But then to make it even better, we put the name of your trail on your flag. So when persons are telling me, oh, I can't find Signal Hill, I was like, did you ever see the word Signal Hill? No, I saw Button Pond. I said, well, you were never on the right trail.
Right.
Because the Button Pond flags are green, are yellow, correction, and the Signal Hill flags are green, and they say Signal Hill. So we've had situations where persons came hiking with their friends, and when they did have signal, they would say, "Oh, my friend just passed number one for rendezvous, and they're coming down." She just said to me the last flag show was Reservoir Hill 5, and I said to them, "Your friend is like 20 minutes away from you."
Mm.
According to their pace. And they're like, "How can you be at administration and you're having this conversation with me about your flags on your trails? Like, if you're right there." Personally, all 80 something flags at Wallings, I know where they are. I've been writing them down. So I could be in Timbuktu and somebody sends me an email or somebody calls me and I can give assistance from anywhere in the
Yeah.
world because I've put myself in the position of a what if. And
Right.
persons like to say, "Oh, you take Wallings personal." I have to. So that the energy, emphasis, and effort into being the best product that we have on the market is there because I'm
Right.
taking it personally and
Yeah.
I'm doing it like if it's me.
Right. Right. Totally understand. Totally understand. So you come across as a very strong character. Yeah. You come across as very strong, confident, confident. But I know there are times when we all have confidence issues. You know, sometimes we waver a little bit and we think, oh, you know, I'm not sure I can do this or whatever. So, do you ever have those bouts of self confidence, low self confidence, and how do you navigate those?
I don't show it in public. So
Okay.
even if I'm in a room of persons that would intimidate me, you'd never know. What I've done, and it works. I've learned how to hide my true feelings until I get in private to vent or let out. And then I like to write a lot. So if something is bothering me and I'm in a room and I can't vent or get it out, and you see me writing on a piece of paper, I'm probably writing those negative thoughts that I have about myself on that piece of paper. I'm going to tear it up and throw it in the bin. So when I'm
Right.
passing a trash
Yes.
can, I throw it in the bin. And
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm having a frustrating day or something is bothering me from the day before. I think I need to cry. I cry in the shower. And
Yeah.
by the time those tears run down the drain and I dry myself off and I get ready for the day, my confidence suit is on. And then I go about the day going about like everything is fine until I get in my vehicle or get into a bathroom, or if I even if in the day I need to cry, go in the bathroom, wash my face so you can't see it. Maybe you're gonna realize it
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
But there are days when I need to break down that I do it in privacy because persons would judge you on understanding what you're going through, how much you're putting up with physically, mentally,
Mm,
spiritually, just to survive for the change that they're seeing.
mm, thank. And I was going to ask you, what color is your confidence suit?
Black.
No hesitation there, no hesitation. So, Rafika, what advice would you share with other young women embarking on their leadership journey or entering a male dominated profession?
You're gonna have to believe in yourself. Even if you others doubt you, never doubt yourself because what men are afraid of and they don't want to admit it is that women have the drive to see change. We can mitigate any water, we can overcome any challenge, and if you begin to doubt yourself, you're going to allow them to win.
Hmm.
So self-confidence, just as I said, I wear it as a suit. If you would need to break down, do it in privacy. Don't let people see your weakness, even if you want to do it right then and there. And then I have to give myself my own advice at times. There are times when I need to vent, and when you need to vent, you need to vent and not hold it in because if you hold things in, it damages you from inside.
Right.
So if you need to vent and you need to use social media to vent in a way that doesn't damage your character because persons judge you by things you say or do even without knowing you because of a perception others may give about
Mm,
you, you're
mm.
going to have to believe in yourself.
Right, right, right. Okay, okay. So it's all about self belief. It's all about confidence. It's all
Yes.
about building up, just building up, and just brushing it off your shoulder wherever you
Yeah, because
can.
you know your strengths, you know your
Yeah,
weaknesses, you know what would make you tick, you know what where your breaking point is, you know where your bottom line is. You
yeah,
have to believe in yourself
yeah,
first,
yeah.
and then others will believe in you. And as somebody said to me even today, closed mouths don't get fed. So if
Yes,
you're having a challenge, others may be facing the same challenge, maybe
yeah.
they might be stuck. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And when you're in
Absolutely.
the position too, and you can share it back or pay
Yeah,
it forward, you do
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
so that others can see that, hey, yes, I've gotten to a point where I've learned enough, but don't be afraid to share, because when you're sharing,
Yeah.
maybe you were stuck, maybe you didn't have an answer, but because you're speaking
Mm.
about, you're sharing or telling somebody this is what my experience is, the answer might come to you right then and there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And quite often as women, we have what I call a me, myself, and I syndrome, in that we think that nobody else can possibly understand what we're going through, has experienced what we're going through. Yet if you turn to that next woman and you say, look, I'm going facing this challenge, like you said, invariably they've probably been through it or know somebody they can connect you with and can share the hints and tips. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, to get those answers. So I totally agree with you there about sharing it. So Rafika, share with us a success quote or a mantra that you use and why it's meaningful to you.
Be the change you want to see, and those words are powerful, because if you want the sky to be blue, maybe you're going to have to show blue paint up in the air. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
But if you want to be an impactful leader, you're going to have to become an impactful leader.
yeah,
If you want to lead in the fashion industry, it means that you're going to have to go into that industry. So
yeah,
if you want to see change in a specific area, you want to see change even in your own life, you're going to have to be the change that you want to see.
yeah,
Because again, you're going to have to wear self-confidence as a suit.
yeah,
You're going to have to believe in yourself, because you believing in yourself first, and then others are going to believe in you. Even if you're the only person on your team will eventually grow and you won't realize it, because persons are going to believe in the work and
yes,
the change that you're doing. Because I never thought I'd become an ambassador just by starting an environmentally friendly project. And when I have persons reaching out to write about me in textbooks for their students, and I have other islands saying, can we write about you, to tell them how one person with limited finances, and all I had was vision. I just wrote it on paper
yeah,
and said, I want to see this change.
yeah,
And now we're being looked at as an international case study, because I said, let me take a chance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And what I'm hearing for you from you there is that where there's a will, there's a way.
There is.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. So you're still young, Rafika. So I'm going to give you this question. But what advice would you give to your teenage self?
Don't have children.
I think that's the second time I've heard that as many weeks.
I if I had to go back to my teenage self, maybe I wouldn't have my children so young, because
Yeah.
I had them young and I had them and I got over it. So now I'm in my 30s, actually growing up. We actually grew up together, me and my
Yes.
children. So if I had to reverse them, I would go back. I don't think I would have children so young,
Yeah.
or maybe I'd even have children. But then they're my motivators still.
Mm,
So
mm.
maybe for my young teenage self, I'd say save money so I can have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
But the past is the past for a reason, and everything that you think, everything
Yes.
that happens to you in life happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't see the results right away, so you take any bad thing that happens to you and you
Yeah.
build on it and you use
Yeah.
it as your stepping stone.
Yeah.
And no matter what you do or say, persons are going to talk. Persons are always going to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Again, wear your self confidence as a suit.
Yeah. 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 It's very, very true. Because like I said, you don't want to dwell in the past because you can't change it, but
No,
you can use it to shape your future.
yeah, you can.
Yeah. So that's a really good piece of advice there. So Rafika, if you had to choose, or if you could choose your own mentor, who would it be and why?
I'm not picky. Anybody that I can vent to, or
You like the vent.
I had a mentor recently on the Young Leaders of America initiative.
Yeah.
And when I told her my story, she's like, are you sure you don't want to be my mentor? Because I mean, I wouldn't think to do all those things. And you're very brave to attempt to do half of the things that you're doing. And then it's like, you're gonna be judged and you really don't care what person say, because you already have your goals written down, which
Mm.
much persons don't have, and you've already
Yeah.
put pen to paper.
Yeah.
So what advice can I give you? And I said to her, I just need somebody to listen. I sometimes I am my self-confidence suit is a bit shaky. I
Yeah.
need somebody to zip up the zip if it's running down and say to
Yeah.
me, pull back on your shoes and let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm not a picky person. I just need somebody that maybe my idea it might sound shaky to even me. I just need them to say, try it.
Right, right, right. So there's nobody in business or in the field you're working that you admire that you'd love to have. Maybe, could I pick their brains for 30 minutes or something like that?
Most persons that speak to me say, can I pick your brain? And every time I go to a forum and Refica's name is on there, I'm like, they need to put that girl last because I cannot speak behind of her. Because when she opens her mouth, I'm like, I gotta go behind that chick. And this person is somebody that I've admired. And she said to me the other day, she was feeling down and she just took up her phone and she said, let me send her a message and see
Mm.
what the response is going to be. And then she said, sometimes I'm stuck and I say, let me call Rafika and see what kind of day she's having. And by the time I finish talking to you, I'm like, okay, she has more problems than me. Let me get to work.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. We're coming down to our last few questions, Rafika. So what are the three things you've learned about yourself during your career?
I've learned I'm more resilient than I thought I was.
Yeah.
I have more vision than I thought I was. I'm very innovative and I have lots of patience.
Right, right. So you got to give me four there. So
Yeah.
resilient, innovative, patient, and I forgot the fourth.
I
But it
don't
was
remember.
four. But it was
Yeah.
four. It was four. It
Yeah.
was four. So, and where would we find you typically on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m.?
Wallings.
Wallings. Okay. Doing anything particular or just in the open?
On the weekends are the busiest for us.
Yeah.
So ironically, most of my administration work is done in the week, and then on
Right.
Saturdays and Sundays sometimes I don't even get the time to turn on my computer because I have the ideas. I keep teaching other
Mm.
persons, so if something happens there is continuity, and this
Hmm.
is something that we need to get away from. Not because it is your idea means you need to keep it to yourself.
Yes.
You
Yes.
teach others that want to see the same change. You're not going to
Hmm.
find it right away. Persons are going to come in with ulterior motive. Persons are going to come in thinking, hey, I can get a rise to fame, or I can just ride on her coattails. No, it doesn't work that way. So I spend most of my weekends when at Wallings because it's the busiest day. And then I try to impart the knowledge that I have to others. So I may
Right.
be leading a tour, I may be doing some sort of capacity training. And then I like to read and I like to learn. So
Right.
anywhere I can find a course to do online and I have the funds to do it, I pay. So sitting down here speaking to you, I think I have going on to 60 certificates because the devil really find work for idle hands to do. And even if you take away everything from me, you cannot take away my knowledge.
Yeah, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And nowhere would I say you're idle, by the way. No way, no way. So my last question, last official question, Rafika, what does success feel like to you?
Tired. Success is not as glitzy and glammy as persons put it. You're going to be tired, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to question yourself, am I going to do it? The money's not going to be coming right away. I wish the money was raining out of the sky. I had a money tree in my backyard where I could just go and pick. You're going to have to make lots of sacrifices. You're going to lose friends or people that you thought were your friends because they're not going to understand why do you want to do this, why you're not getting paid, why you want to continue. You're going to lose a lot, but you're going to gain so much more in the
Mhm.
end.
Mhm.
Because now, if you type Refica Attwood into Google, the things that are going to pop up, my full name completely, are going to pop up. And I never thought I'd see the day where you can just type my name into Google and the amazing things about the work that I've been doing pops up.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does that feel? Because the success is, you've told me what success would look like, but how does it feel for you? How do you know? How do you, when you've done everything you want to do and you've been successful, how will you feel?
I feel great that other persons want to pick my brain or say, can you be my mentor? Can you tell me how to do this? I think I've been featured in so much SBAs now that when students call and say, hey, we want to write about the work that you're doing at Wallings, it's a great feeling. So
Mm.
to be able to say, I am somebody that persons will say, I want to not be like me because I have my problems, but I want to take some of the steps that she took into becoming successful as a
Right.
Black female.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, that was my last official question. But if people personally would like to know more about what you're doing at Wallings Dam, how can they do that, Refica?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn, just send me a connection request, or they can visit the Wallings Reserve website, www.wallingsnaturereserve.org. If they want to donate, if they want to become a member, if they want to become a volunteer, or the Wallings social media feeds are quite active, our Facebook page, our Instagram, our Twitter. We post sometimes almost every day. We're having a promotion coming up shortly. So the Wallings social media sites are quite active. So any information about Wallings itself can be
Yeah.
found on social media or on the Wallings website. And for me personally, Facebook is a place where you say, that's not Refica. But my LinkedIn is for persons that want to reach out to me professionally.
Excellent, excellent. I'll be sure to put the links in the show note. Show notes. So, Ambassador Refica Attwood, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a delight. Thank you so much for being part of This Woman Can.
All right, it was a pleasure.
Career reinvention, I've been there and I get it. And I want success for you. Are you exploring a career pivot to find more fulfillment? Are you thinking of returning to work after a career break? Are you emerging from a personal life transition? But maybe you're fuzzy about what you actually want to be doing or how to close the gap between your now and your next. You could even be frustrated about change, both the kind that's happening physically and the kind that isn't. Scared you have more to look back on than forward to. Or you could even be frenzied by so much responsibility, the kids, the partners, that you are floundering as you seek to find greater contribution in the world. You might be wondering, is this as good as it gets? Well, I'm here to tell you, no. There's a way forward and it's really exciting. Your next career chapter is an intensive, hands-on, 12-week live program that will walk you through a proven step-by-step process to help you get clear on your goals so you stop wasting time in the haze, removing the blocks and start creating a solid picture of what a vibrant, energized career looks like for you. Helps you create practical, easy to implement action steps by identifying where you want to go and the how to get there. So that becomes totally apparent and doable. And you access expert guidance because I am here to help you every step of the way. For more information, visit janicesutherland.com for details on how to join a program that will help you turn your mid-career crisis into your mid-career success.